Hey guys, Analogman here for another deck profile, and as you can see from the mat and from the thumbnail, we are looking at Bloomlord again, basically. Um, this deck actually did pretty well in regionals, and so once regionals was over, I basically went back to the drawing board, and I've been slowly kind of like testing the new basically our new support that we got in BT14 through the Togame Online and Mimi stuff. I may be making a few changes later on, specifically the tamers of I'm still running the old Yoshino memory tamer because I do like memory setters more than Mimi's effect, but at the same time, people have brought up the idea that having a tamer that basically just gains you a memory by default actually hurts a little bit more, but that's usually the Mimi doesn't really do that unless something is suspended, so I opted honestly not to run it at the moment, but I am running some of the Pokemon line. And of course, the new green trainings, which actually make this deck go even faster than normal and also help it so that you don't basically miss on certain searches, which is pretty nice. But yeah, let's actually look at the deck. So for the eggs, we are running 4 of the Cocomons still from EX4. This guy is still really strong. This effect always triggers no matter what because basically almost all your effects suspend one of your own Digimon, which will get you an extra draw, which can potentially help you draw into your Bloomlord and kind of set up for more damage. So gotta run 4. Some builds do run the one Argomon, specifically this one from BT2. It is good, but at the same time, like it only gives you that memory when you unsuspend. So you basically have to hope that the stack that you pushed up basically survived, which I really don't like because it's relying on your opponent not having removal, which basically every deck in tier 1 has a way to do. So I honestly rely more on just my own effects on my turn when I'm doing my plays. So I like just running the 4 instead of like the 4 and the 5, but you can technically run this as your 5th egg. It is a very solid egg, but I feel like it's just not as valuable at the moment because of how much removal there still is. So we just run the 4 Cocomons for now. Yeah, but that's all the eggs that we run in the deck. For rookies, we do run a bit. First off, we are running the 4 Palmons from BT10. I finally managed to max out this deck, so now I have like all pre-release copies. I know there's a higher rarity in the event pack, but I'm not opting to spend 30 bucks per piece, so I'd rather just have these and still have foil ones. But yeah, this Palmon is really solid. You have to run this at 4, and it gets even better later on because the fact that we get to search and we get to suspend stuff at the same time is pretty nice later on in BT15. But for now, she is our main searcher and searches both a fairy and a plant vegetation, Digimon. So pretty solid because you can usually grab 2 Digimon no matter what off her. So you got to run 4 just to maximize your potential of hitting what you need to grab. Then we run 4 Lalamon still. I know that this isn't much of a change yet, but later on, once I figure out a way to basically add in the new Palmons, I will be taking out 2 of these just to do that because this one only searches Yoshino and 1 vegetation plant or fairy. You can't get 2 like with Palmon, so I kind of don't like her as much. So later on, I may be fitting in new Palmon depending on if I can make that work. But for now, we are running 4 Lalamons just to have like 8 searchers at the moment. So yeah. Then we run 3 of the Pomumon from BT9 because a lot of decks in BT14 are running a lot of effects that summon Digimon. So this basically prevents them from going off, especially against Fenrir. It hurts them incredibly because they have to basically remove it using Hellugra because there's basically no other removal aside from actually no, maybe Chimera can do it, but even then it's like Pomumon being there just kind of hurts them from doing a lot of their combos and they have to pass turn in the process, so it kind of slows them down a bit. And then the last rookie we run is the Pomomon that helps us suspend stuff. Our main thing is to mainly go for this one usually, but this one is pretty solid to help you kind of like thin out their board later on in the game once you're basically set up. So got to run at least one of these. We are running, let's see, 8, 11, 12. So we have actually a pretty like normal number. My previous build was running more than this, but I feel like right now with how the meta is, you need this old Pomomon more than the suspending one on because you need to prevent them from basically doing their plays compared to just suspending and killing their guys like normal. But yeah, that's all for the rookies, level 3s. For level 4s, we are still running the 4 Sunflowmons because this one basically helps you kind of swarm the board early. So I opted to run just 4 copies, the main 4 copies of this because it's just so good still, and it's a 2-cost evolution, so pretty solid. Then we run 3 of the Sunflowmon. I opted to reduce this down to include other level 4s, but this one is still really broken beyond belief because the fact that it lets you reduce the cost by 2 and so what I've heard about how trainings work is that once you activate them, they go off. But if you have passive inherits like Sunflows, where it says if it has a green tame, if you have a green tamer out, reduce it by 1. These will still go off in conjunction with the tamer, with the trainings basically. So you basically get to reduce a Digimon's evolution by 4 in combination with this, which is really insane. But that's just the inherit. The effect here, where it has to suspend itself, triggers immediately, just like a training. So you cannot delay it later on. You just have to evolve at that point once you do the suspension, just like the training. So that's one thing you have to look out for. The inherits will work with the trainings, but not this effect specifically because it's just like the trainings where once you trigger it, it has to go off. So you can't go training and then suspend this. You have to resolve the training first before you can suspend this. So you have to use this for like a separate evolution basically, which sucks, but that's just how the rulings for the trainings are. So yeah. Then we run 2 red Vegiemons because 3 cost, hard play that, pretty solid to pass turn, and it's a 1 cost evolution, so you could pass turn with either way, so pretty nice. Then we run 2 of the new Togemon. Togemon is really gross because you can potentially just play your 4-cost tamer for 1. It also has the same inherit as Sunflow, where if you have a green tamer, you can reduce the cost. So if you somehow put this with Chimera or whatever, you basically get to make the evolution like basically almost dirt cheap, like a hidden potential basically. So pretty cool. That's all the level 4s we run. As you can see, we're running 4, 7, 9, 10, 11 of them so far. Originally, I was running only 10, but I wanted to include Red Veggie because he's just such a good Digimon in this deck because of his low cost and everything. I wanted to include him. Originally, I was just running the 4 and then 3 of this, but I opted to kind of like run him instead because I just really love him. Plus, I have a little like minifigure of him, so I like using that as my memory setter for this deck. So yeah. For level 5s, we of course are running the 4 Agitarmons. This guy is basically your best level 5 because he helps you summon stuff by suspending itself or something on the board. Also, his inherit is super broken in this deck because if you evolve into Bloomlord, you suspend anything regardless. You suspend something on your board, so you will be guaranteed gaining that 1 memory off of it, so pretty cool. Then we are playing the new Lilymon Ace. The new Lilymon Ace, honestly, it's pretty fire. Honestly, like originally I wasn't really that big of a fan of it, but then just after testing it, it's actually pretty good because usually you leave your board with a lot of level 4s that your opponent can't really remove all of them. So there'll always be 1 left that you can blast evolve on and basically bottom deck their rookies so they can't really do that extra security check for the turn basically. And if you have Hydra on the board and you still have most of your board and you activate this, you're basically passing turn to yourself and getting rid of something on their board. So it's actually pretty solid. Aside from that, yeah, it's just really solid at the moment. Of course, we run the 2 Cherrymon because Cherrymon is basically there to help you redirect attacks, and it's a Digisorption target, so pretty solid. It is a 1-cost evolution usually if you suspend something, but if not, you could actually. I have occasionally had to evolve this in Raising, but it happens sometimes. That's just how the card game is. Then we run 1 Argomon and 1 Blossomon, mainly because of the Digisorption, but also Argomon's effect actually can help boost Bloomlord. If you summon a rookie and have an extra suspended guy, it will check at that attack and then make it so that it has an extra check regardless. And yeah, that's basically all the level 5s we run. We run about 10 in total, which is like 2 over, but green honestly needs this because you need to see these as often as possible. This one, the Lilymon Ace, you mainly just want to see once you have your board set up, but sometimes you do have to evolve into this, which kind of sucks, but most of the time I will kind of like hold off and evolve into one of these instead, so it's not too big of an issue to draw into one of these. For level 6s, we of course are running the 4 Bloomlordmons. I finally managed to get 4 copies of his AA, so pretty solid. This guy is really busted even in this format. The fact that when digivolving, he suspends something and then you gain memory off of how many guys you have on your board that are plant, vegetation, or fairy. And if you gain more than 2, he gets done suspend. And he gains piercing and security attack +1 for every 2. So pretty good, pretty powerful, and still very viable enough to take down a lot of the meta. So you have to run at least 4 copies since he is our main level 6 to go into. Our secondary one is, of course, Hydramon. Hydramon, or Hydrassi as you might call him, still very strong. The fact that you can just suspend something and bottom deck it if you have another guy on board. So pretty good. Gotta run at least 2 just in case as kind of like a deterrent to stop them from doing stuff. Then this is my spicy tech still. I run 1 Rosemon. This actually got me a game against the War Greymon deck because they checked, targeted into the Rosemon, and then I redirected it to Cherry, and then they deleted this, but this still had its effect go off regardless because in how it resolves, because it's at the end of attack, this does it immediately once they suspend. So I basically got to suspend their War Greymon X and make it so they could not unsuspend, so pretty powerful. Still a good one-off copy. Don't run this at more than 2 because the main focus is to go into Bloomlord, and then she's basically just there for support. Same with Hydra. So yeah, the main yeah, but that's basically all the level 6s we run. We run about let's see, 6, 7 of them, which is 1 card over. But at the same time, you want to see these guys as often as possible. The main one, of course, as I said, you need to basically hit into Bloomlord, but either of these also can do something pretty solid, so they're all just decent. For level 7s, we only run 1, and of course it is Quartzmon. Quartzmon is just really busted. If you manage to do the Bloomlord combo properly, you should be able to gain back all your memory and then go into this and just stun your entire opponent's board. I managed to lock down a red hybrid deck. I managed to lock down technically a Belphemon deck, but that's mainly because they bricked. That was the only reason I honestly won against that. And then against like a lot of other decks, you can just lock them and they can't really do anything, which really hurts them in the long run. So you gotta run at least 3 to see this as consistently as possible because he is not searchable unless it's through the training cards. So yeah, you have to run 3 just in case if you bottom deck 1. That's basically all the Digimon in the deck. For options, we of course run the 3 agility trainings because this card is just broken beyond belief. The fact that you get to reveal 2 cards and just add any green card, including a Tamer, which basically hits everything in this entire deck. You have to run at least 3. And of course, the fact that its delay lets you reduce an evolution by 2, which already makes these inherits already broken. If you already have this and this together, you're reducing it by 2. With this, you're reducing it by 4 in total. So basically, that Bloomlord is just super 3 no matter what. So pretty good. You have to run at least 3. Then you run 1 hidden potential because this card is still broken beyond belief. So you have to run at least the 1. And then for tamers, we are running the 3 copies of Yoshino because Yoshino is a memory tamer, and it gains a memory every time you evolve into a plant, vegetation, or fairy as long as you suspend it. You do only gain 1 memory because it's a 1. Once you suspend it, that's the only time. But if you have multiples, you can actually stack it. So let's say you evolve into this, it becomes a 0 cost if you have all 3 of these on board. So pretty good. And I have managed to just not pass turn thanks to this because I basically evolved past them to 1 and then activated this and it went back to my turn. So I still say Yoshino is the better tamer compared to Mimi because it sets your memory. So I prefer that, honestly, rather than just hoping that you can use Hydra to suspend something or whatever. So yeah. Aside from that, yeah, that's basically the build for the new Bloom. As you can see in the thumbnail, it is 3 times faster, mainly because of this and a lot of the other stuff that the deck already does anyway. So it's basically it's faster than it was before, but it still basically does the exact same thing. It just swarms the board, and it checks really hard next turn if they can't get rid of your guy. And even if they do, you just make another one and you do it again anyway. And you just keep repeating that with the blooms over and over. And yeah, as usual, every time when I make one of these deck profiles, this is a general outline. This is my personal build, but you can take it and modify it however you want. Maybe take out like certain cards, like maybe you don't like Lilymon Ace. You might want to switch it out for maybe another Cherrymon. I did try another Cherrymon. It was pretty solid. There's a lot of options with green because green has a lot of support no matter what. Not every set, but it has enough support where you can switch out a lot of stuff, so pretty cool. Aside from that, as usual, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought of the deck, and I'll see you guys next time.